What's up, guys? This video is going to show you how to hotwire a Pioneer 500. This will work for some ATVs as well. Real quick on the screen right here, there's a 15% Tarachi promo code from now till December 7th for Black Friday. Promo code is right there in the top left corner of the screen. So if you've been waiting to get a set of tires or a gear reduction, this is the cheapest our tires have been all year. Our tires don't go on sale very much because they sell really well already. But super good deal. Also, in the bottom right-hand corner, I have Adam Brown's cell phone number. People ask me for that like 3 times a week. This is the guy to call for sub-transmission rebuilds, Pioneer 1000, Talon, sub-transmission gear reductions, upgrades. He does other stuff too, but those are the main things I use him for. So yeah, give him a call if you need help with that stuff.
Alrighty guys, I'm going to show you how to hotwire a Pioneer with some basic switches off Amazon. These say they're waterproof, they're highly reviewed, we will find out. The purpose of this video is not to show you how to steal something or to show you how to get the machine that you bought that you know is stolen running. If you buy stolen machines, you're a dirtbag, and if you steal machines, you're a bigger dirtbag. Anything I buy with a title, and I also run the VIN numbers to make sure it's not stolen. Highly recommend doing that. There's a lot of stolen shit in Florida because there's a lot of dirtbags. So if you pull the ignition out like this, you just take the nut off, you can push it through there, and then you can get your harness up here. You can also unplug it right down there. There's a connector. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the wires off and wire them to switches. If you're trying to figure out how to do this, it's pretty simple. You use a test light. So if you look at the switch and you kind of probe it, I usually don't do this, but I'm cutting these wires anyway. So if you probe it here, we've got power to the white black with the key off, and we've got power, we got power to the red black with the key off. That's red with a black stripe right there. And then if we go to the solid red, it's also got power. It's hard to do with one hand, sorry guys. The solid red also has power with the key off. So those are your 2 power in wires to the ignition switch. Your power out is this red with a white and this solid black. And then if you want to crank, when you go to the cranking position, it gives power to this yellow red. The reason mine are all tore up is because I had a screwdriver and I was jumping between these 2 wires to get it cranking on the side of the trail. That's why I finally decided to delete it. It also has intermittent power going to this red white, which is wreaking havoc on my accessories. So basically, cut all the wires, put the red black and the red on one side of your switch, and then put the red white and the black on the other side of the switch, and that'll give you your on off for your one switch, and then your push button switch right here, which is for cranking. You just have a wire come from this black and the other wire go to this yellow red for cranking. I'll show you that again once I get it wired up, but it looks like it's gonna be pretty simple. Of course, before you start cutting wires, disconnect one of the legs from your battery. That way you don't have any shorts going on. And I was just thinking about it and I realized I really should have 2 of these switches. There are 2 power wires into the circuit and there's 2 power wires out of the circuit. So they probably have them separated in the switch. And they do that for fusing reasons, not overloading wires. I'm gonna wire them all up to one switch. This switch is a pretty good switch. It's rated for a lot of amps, so it'll probably be fine. But you really should have 2 switches. So you should have, if you really wanna do this right, you should have 2 of these switches, which are on off, and you should have 1 momentary switch. That way you don't overload one of the circuits. It'll be fine with 1 switch, but it's not exactly the right way to do it. All right, so here's what we've got. We've got our on-off switch. It doesn't matter which wire you go to where, right? There's no LEDs in this switch, so it's just open and closed circuit, wired however you want. On one leg of the on-off switch, we have red, black, and red. On the other leg of the on-off switch, we have black, red, white, and then this wire I added, which just gives power to the start switch. The crank switch goes just to the yellow red on one leg, and the other leg of the crank switch gets power on the same side as the red white. So I think when I plug this in, this should turn the key on and this should crank. Now obviously this is all very sloppy and just stuff I had laying around, and it's totally temporary unless it works. Okay, so I got it plugged into the wire harness. Before we drill a bunch of holes, let's test it. So key on, screen turns on. Do our headlights work? They do. So we've got power everywhere. And then if we want to crank it, we press the red button. Well, that was really easy, guys. Like I said, I have 2 wires into one here. It would be better to have 2 separate switches, but we'll see how long this works. Maybe I'll add a second switch later. And this switch I'm pretty confident will be waterproof. I've used these before. We'll have to see about how waterproof this one is, but it seems to be working fine. Wires aren't getting hot or anything. And I did solder everything, so that's good too. Alrighty, here's how it looks. So you got your ignition here, so you can take the key out and people won't steal it. However, this doesn't do anything anymore. Those wires don't go anywhere. And then you got your switch up here. That's your on everything switch, so that gives power to your ECU and your accessories. And if you reach down here, you got your start button. Pretty sweet. And off. Very premium. I put this switch as high as it can, keep it out of the water. I know these are pretty waterproof, but I'll let you guys know if it gives me any problems.